You're listening to Defend Your Time, brought to you by Ontinu. I'm your host, Chris Taylor. This is the podcast where we help you get stronger security, more value, and fewer headaches out of your Microsoft security investments. If you've made the decision to protect your organization with Microsoft security tools, but you're looking for ways to get more out of that investment, then you are in the right place. On today's episode, our pilot episode, I have with me today Daniel Morris and Ryan Hulls, both of whom are Microsoft security experts, and they work closely with enterprise security teams. Daniel, Ryan, thank you for being with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
In today's episode, we're going to have Daniel and Ryan share tips that everyone who relies on Microsoft security tools like Defender really need to know. Let's dive in. When you get in front of a CISO who's at a Microsoft shop and you start looking for opportunities either to save costs, improve security posture, what's the first thing you look at?
Well, Chris, one of the first things that we actually go to is always the Microsoft licensing, right? So everybody has some type of Microsoft license within their tenant, whether they're just using Office 365, E3 to E5 for email and Exchange, along with having access to things like Word and PowerPoint and Excel. But we also help them look at what security toolings they're actually using. So it's just going past the tools that they have today and actually looking at what license do they have in their environment, what's available in that license, and then also from what's available in the license, what are they looking at overall from the rest of their security tooling and what gaps do they have. So when we start those discussions, finding out if they have a Microsoft Enterprise E3 license that's in their environment, they're not utilizing Defender for Endpoint. Of course, with the E3 license, only Defender for Endpoint P1 actually comes in that license. Being able to guide and direct them if they're looking at either adopting Microsoft as a security practice or they already have Defender installed and they're looking to gain more from Defender for Endpoint, being able to talk to them about what would be the next best thing, whether it's an add-on such as Defender for Endpoint P2 or actually moving up to something like the E5 security license to actually help them gain more from that license. And that's also where others like Ryan come in, of being able to actually discuss those possibilities with them around, say, for example, Defender for Office.
Thank you, Daniel. I mean, I understand it's extremely complicated, and I wonder if the complicated aspects to the licensing actually causes a lot of security leaders to maybe shy away from doubling down on their Microsoft investments. But one of the things we were talking about was some of the opportunities through configuration. So Ryan, talk to us a little bit about what you've seen with customers where you've seen opportunities around configuration with Microsoft tools.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to like the E3 or the E5 license, we see a lot of people who need to look at transitioning into the whole Microsoft stack. And that one of the portions would be the Defender for Office. There's a lot of great capabilities that come with those license features that can, one, save you the licensing from a third-party product moving into the full Microsoft stack. And another is that you get the holistic view of alerting information from your environment. So if there's a threat that's coming in via email, we can look at our anti-phishing policies. We look at our anti-malware. We also have ZAP, which is our 0-hour auto purge. It's a great feature set to have inside of your email environment, along with maybe you're trying to protect information inside of documents themselves. You have safe links, safe attachments. You get a document in through your email. You want to protect that attachment, make sure it doesn't propagate throughout your environment. A lot of phishing threats nowadays are done through clickjacking attempts and then also embedded malware into attachments. So we want to protect that to the best of our ability and find out and protect our environment if we are being targeted under a campaign, possibly something that we need to push further and protect our environment on the endpoints and not just through our email security.
Okay, so that's great. So let's say somebody has optimized their licensing, they've got the right licensing, they've got Defender for Office configured, and they're protecting email. Where do you go next, or where do you often see low-hanging fruit from there? Does that?
Once we've actually been able to validate and verify that someone is actually using Defender for Office along with Defender for Endpoint, and that their policies are actually there and being utilized properly, one of the next pieces to actually look at is a CASB solution. A lot of companies actually overlook a CASB solution because they think it's something that they don't necessarily need, or they have another product or tool that's in place that's a third party that they're already utilizing that may cover some of the aspects. One of the differences for the CASB solution that's actually provided by Microsoft is that with Defender for Cloud Apps, you're actually gaining more than just a normal CASB utility. You're gaining more than that reverse proxy setup. You're actually gaining something that actually monitors file sharing. It actually gives you the ability for governance around things that happen within a file architecture. It's also giving you the ability to build if-then statements within your policy so that you can capture certain instances of things that actually happen. I know that from past experiences, a lot of customers actually, miss seeing this, or a lot of companies actually miss seeing this within their environments as they go through and they start adapting and adopting Defender for Cloud Apps. It gives them the ability to actually take and not only harden the posture around their devices, but also around their users, being able to track what a user is actually doing, if they share with external sources, being able to control SAML2 applications. I know that Ryan's also had some experience there with working with the firewalls and stuff within a CASB solution as well, along with some of the apps and stuff. Ryan, you want to bring in some of the topics that you've actually helped with in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. So a great portion of the CASB solution is when we unsanction certain applications from the environment. If you have an on-prem resource or a resource group network leg that you have isolated out, they don't have Defender for Endpoint, we can actually pull all of those unsanctioned requests from the Cloud Apps portal, and we can export that natively to a lot of so from the network solutions, what we'll do is we'll generate a block script from the CASB portal to port into our on-prem firewalls. So if we have hosts that are not dedicated with like Defender for Endpoint Plan 1 or Plan 2, we can still protect our on-prem environment even though we don't have devices that are directly supported or onboarded into the MDE portal that would support the CASB solution. It's just another way to get that holistic approach of between cloud devices, on-prem devices, and making sure you have the same policies throughout your environment. You don't have a spread of different policies that you're trying to manage.
Great, thanks, Ryan. And when you look at Defender for Cloud Apps, what are the other things that actually wrap into Defender for Cloud Apps that most people should know about?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's actually a portion of the CASB solution called Conditional Access App Controls. This is another way that we can control those third-party apps that are not directly natively supported inside of the CASB solution. We can connect them via creating a conditional access policy that monitors a logon session. Once we onboard the app, we can actually implement conditional access app controls just like we normally would for any other cloud app in our environment. So if we're trying to put in session controls or access controls against that application, and protect it. Maybe we only want certain people to access those apps and nobody else in our environment to do. That would be a great way that we can control the access and data going to those connected apps.
That's great. Thank you, Ryan. One topic I want to ask about is this Defender user group. So Daniel, this is a community you helped get this stood up last year. Just a handful of people, and now it's grown to about 250 different users of Microsoft Defender, sharing knowledge and best practices. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing there, and how does somebody get involved or join this Defender user group if they're interested in learning more or becoming part of that group?
Yeah, so the Defender user group really was started to help everyone out. So it's a platform for anybody to come and ask questions, to be able to share their experiences with others. It's actually open to the community to be able to reach out and ask whatever question that they're struggling with. So if they're not trying to follow a trend on their own, they're actually trying to be able to reach out and gain more knowledge. One of the trends that we've actually seen is the level of participation from the group. So whether the subjects are around adopting security for Copilot, or whether it's around Microsoft licensing, or even talking about different parts of Defender itself. The community has come together and actually been able to, open up discussions, be able to talk through things that they've actually experienced within their own environment, but also things that they've configured and things that they've learned, helping each other to kind of balance out what's a good practice versus what's something that maybe is written somewhere else that hasn't actually been put into practice in a live environment, and giving them the ability to actually see that. One of the ways that you can actually find us for the Defender user group is actually on LinkedIn. Just go through and search for the Defender user group, or you can come to ontinu.com and pretty sure you can find it there as well, a link to the Defender user group. It is sponsored by Ontinu, and we're very thankful for Ontinu for sponsoring us for this group.
Thank you, Daniel, and we'll leave details. We'll leave the information for joining in the details for the podcast as well. Listen, thank you for joining. If you've listened this far, we'd love to hear your feedback. If there's other topics you'd like for us to cover on this podcast, again, we want to help you get the most out of your Microsoft security investments and do so with fewer headaches. Some of the topics we'll cover in our next episodes will include MFA, conditional access policies. We'll talk about Intune integrations, USB policies. Something else, if you're interested in having a deeper conversation with somebody like Daniel or Ryan, we do security strategy review, no-cost security strategy review workshops with Microsoft security customers all the time. We value working with companies who are looking to get the most out of their security investments with Microsoft. And we'll show you how to get an ROI. We'll do a comparison of your current tools and practices, and we'll build a roadmap to get your organization in shape over the next 2 years. If you're interested in learning more, contact us through our website at ontinu.com. Hey, at the very least, you might learn something in a conversation that could help you get immediate value. Ryan, Daniel, thank you so much for being with us today. This is a great discussion, and we look forward to the next one.